Even though the game hasn't released yet, the Battle Spirits Saga has been pretty stable ever since the launch events, but things are about to get a little bit more spicy. Hey everybody, Espira, and we're back with another Battle Spirits Saga video today, talking about the release, reveals, I don't even know what we can call them, of the new tournament promo cards. These are cards you're going to get by playing at your local game stores week for week. You're going to get a pack, you're going to be able to open these cards, and they are mechanically unique, which will change up the gameplay of the meta as the weeks progress and as players get access to some of these cards, and some of them are really dope. There are 8 cards, 2 of which for every color, that help support some themes that were introduced in set 1. So without further ado, let's jump into them and see how they are. Kicking it off with red, we start off with Comet Dragon Sungrazer, a 5-cost 2 red reductions Star Dragons on levels 1, 2, and 3. When summoned, all of your spirits gain 2000 BP during this turn, and on levels 2 and 3 during your attack step, if the spirit has a soul core on it, draw a card when you reduce one of your spirits cores to 0 with Awaken. So the idea is that you attack with an awakened spirit, and then you attack with another awakened spirit, and then you take off the cores from the old one, letting that one die, and now you get a card for having gotten rid of it. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I don't love this one. The card looks dope, the art is sick, but I don't totally believe in its ability to really make Awaken a deck. Especially since he doesn't even have Awaken himself, right? You read him at first like, oh, okay, that's cool. But no, he can't even do it himself, which kind of makes sense because it's like tied to like a destruction ability and all that. But Awaken's just not there yet. I don't even know if you play this if you do play Awaken, but generally the deck needs better Awakeners. I think it's good that the deck is getting more support because it definitely needs it. I just don't think this is what gets it there. Alternatively, Sordosaurus, what a name that is, is a super dope card for Pterosaur. It's a 4-cost 2 red reductions on levels 1, 2, and 3. When the spirit attacks, the spirit gains 2k BP, and on levels 2 and 3 during your attack step, refresh the spirit when one of your other Pterosaur spirits is blocked. So we've seen this kind of ability before. We've seen it in yellow. I'm not too sure if there's a red card that does it, but specifically having a Pterosaur that's good on curve is pretty good for this effect, and actually probably will go in builds. I don't know in what number, but there's something to say about having a spirit that can be on levels 2 a 6k and on levels 4 a 9k, which means like you get this out early enough. There's a world in which you can swing with this, swing with another one, that other one gets blocked, you restand this one, you swing with this, you know. Presuming you have 2 of these, they can just like infinitely let each other keep swinging depending on how many blockers your opponent has, which is really funny. So I think the card is decent. I think it does have some considerations for the current Pterosaur builds, and were this available right now, we would probably see some reconfiguration. So definitely worth thinking about. It's not as slim as a lot of the Pterosaurs that the Pterosaurs deck run. It is kind of short on having reductions. It's not the cheapest thing, so it does slow down the deck some level, but there is a world in which maybe you want a more mid-rangey version of the deck, and then this definitely slots into that. Going from red over to purple, we start off with a Black Lance. We've already seen this one as part of kind of like the reveals about organized play and how the store structures and all that was going to work. So just to refresh, a 6-cost 4 purple reduction Serpent on levels 1, 2, and 3. It has Curse. And then on levels 2 and 3, when summoned, draw 2 cards. And the biggest thing is this card great? I don't think so. But I do like that this shows that they're already willing to experiment with on summons that are on levels 2 and 3. It gives that flexibility. I think having that flexibility is really important in a world where Starblast Draw is played of in like as a 4 of in almost every single deck. While Ice Wall was a 4 of in every single deck in Vegas, Starblast was like a 35 out of 36. So it's just like, just to say. So that's what it's most important to me, is the fact that they're willing to jump into the design space. The card itself is just kind of slow. It's not terrible. And it does have a lot of reductions, at least there's that, but it's not something that you can just like jam 4 of. But as like a techie, like 1 or 2 of, I think it's a serviceable card depending on what your deck is trying to do. Moving on from that, we have Crimson Mail, which I don't. Anyways, 3-cost 1 purple reductions Shadow on levels 1 and 2. When summoned, select one of your spirits. You may destroy it to select one of your opponent's spirits. Remove a core from it and place it into the reserve. So already on summons is an issue for purple, specifically because Starblast is in every deck. You really only want to use the best on summons, and like this kind of works in that like shadows want their stuff to die, so it's giving you that synergy of killing one of your things, and then you also get the core reduction. So it's cool because it kind of serves as like a bridge for shadows to do both, where it's the destruction abilities plus it's the core removal. Nevertheless, I think this is not a powerful enough on summon to warrant running when purple already has too many on summons, of which many of them are much more powerful than this. So you can include it, but like the stat numbers aren't nice. It's like it's a 2K on level 1, it's a 3K on level 2. It's just not really speaking to me. If you could run it, don't get me wrong, but this is probably one of the closer duds of the TP set. Moving on from that, we're jumping into white, starting off with the Black Jaguar, a 5-cost 3 white reduction machine beast on levels 1 and 2. When summoned, select 2 of your opponent's spirits with 2K or fewer BP, return them to the bottom of the deck, and then on levels 2, during your opponent's attack step, refresh the spirit when your opponent draws a card. It's fine, right? Like, it's kind of like a counter to Depths, where like you're basically having like an infinite blocker every time they draw a card, but you never want to put yourself in that position, and you're better off doing something like using a Pegacione with like a suppression to kind of get the same effect, and then your opponent's not drawing a million cards. So in general, it's fine, but probably not exactly what White wants to be doing at this point in time, especially since we have other options. However, alternatively, this next white card is super hot. We have D08 Axebiter, a 4-cost 2 white reduction mecha, levels 1 and 2, armor purple, yellow, and on level 2, neither this spirit nor any white nexus with a soul core can be destroyed by your opponent's destruction effects or as a result of battle, and they cannot have their cores removed by your opponent's effects, which is an incredibly powerful card. TLDR, this card is indestructible. On level 2, this card cannot be removed from the board, generally by most things. It can't have its cores removed, it can't be destroyed by destruction effects. So the only thing that would to kill it are 2 things. One, it's like bounce, so white can kind of deal with it. Alternatively, having its BP reduced to 0, but it has armor yellow, so you have to use non-targeting BP reduction. So that would be like Exhaust Nexus, for example. So this is an incredibly powerful card. It's just good, dude. I didn't think white needed this for what it's worth, but it's just very solid. You can effectively go from a Pegacione early on turns 1 and 2, which is like incredibly good early game, to then pivot into the mid game. And if suppression wasn't already a 4 of in your white deck, once Axebiter comes out, it basically has to, right? Because this is a guaranteed. It's like a blocked elk without having to block with it, right? So it starts off right off the case. It's not on when. It's not during the attack phase, which means it's like live right off the bat. So generally that just makes it incredibly powerful. And yeah, there's not too much to say about it. It's very solid, super, super good. Will see play in white decks on its release. Definitely one of the highest impact cards in this TP kit. Moving on from white, we jump over to yellow. And this again is one that we saw during the spoilers, the leaks. War Angel Mace Knight, a 4-cost 2 yellow reduction angel. On levels 1, 2, and 3 during your attack step, when an opponent's spirit is destroyed via reducing its BP to 0, treat this spirit as a level 3, which then jumps it up to a 6K luster body, which is kind of cool. It basically says you can get an early luster that has like a sizable body, and you can kind of cheat your way into luster depending on how early or late in the game you are. So if you are playing the luster deck, there's a good chance you run a good number of these. I don't think the luster deck is really yet, unfortunately, because it's just a little too frail. But regardless, I think this is a super dope card in that archetype. If you are jumping into it, is probably going to see, once we get more yellow support, be a part of that puzzle. However, this is probably the most exciting card. I don't know about the most powerful. I gotta say, Axebiter like really gives the whole kit a run for its money. But in terms of like viability for yellow, if this card was coming out and available for Palm Springs, the Grand Open, I would probably be playing yellow at that tournament. And that's Dual Eagle. This card is nuts. It's a 5-cost 3 yellow reduction Fabled Beast on level 2 and 3. While the spirit attacks, it has Bless, which is great. I love seeing more Bless on more cards. And on level 3, during your attack step, your spirits with Bless cannot be blocked by your opponent's level 1 spirits. Now, of course, that only impacts Dual Eagle himself and Hippocampo, but we've already seen that Hippocampo has been seeing much more play. It has seen a better place given how fast the world is at the moment. So to have a mixture of both Hippocampo and Dual Eagle is going to put in a ton of work. You mixture that with like a God Beast, and basically now it's an unblockable Blessed Body. Super, super good, super impactful. Definitely something that, especially Fabled Beast, the fact that it's another Fabled Beast, because Fabled Beast has been the variant of yellow that's had the most success. So this is definitely going towards that line and has me so hyped up. Like, when we're talking about highlights for me, Dual Eagle is definitely up there as like the #1 primo card. And then you got Axe Biter because it's a good card. Like, come on, it literally says indestructible. And then I would say Sword Dino is kind of up there as my 3 highlights, but all the cards are super dope, and I think they all generally okay, most of them. I don't know about the Awakened Dragon, but otherwise, I think they all generally add themselves to some kinds of strategy and are probably going to see some level of play in some fashion. But with that said, guys, those are the TPs. There are so many more announcements to go. For what it's worth, Cosmic is probably going to get to it before I do, but hey, at least we got the TP coverage, so we'll see about that. Of course, if you guys want to keep up with anything in regards to Battle Spirits Saga, subscribe buttons down there. And with that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao.